Hi everyone. The goal of this video is to learn how to calculate the area of circles. In order to do this, we need to know the formula to calculate the area of a circle, which you should all write down is area equals pi r squared. Remember that pi is actually a number, not a variable. It's approximately equal to 3.1, that's not a 1, 3.14, on and on and on and on. It's an irrational number, which means it would go on forever. Okay, I'm also going to tell you the formula for the circumference of the circle. Remember that circumference is basically the perimeter of the circle. It's the distance around. If you put a string around the circle, that's circumference. That formula is 2 times pi times r. But you could rearrange that and say 2 times r. But if you do 2 times r, it's actually the same thing as pi times the diameter. So all of these are equivalent. You can pick whichever one you want to use. And I might even write that as this formula and this formula. So I want to define that vocab I just used. The first one is the radius, and I'm going to draw a picture. This should not be new, but the radius starts at the center of a circle and connects to the circumference. And the diameter is like double that distance. So here's one radius. If you continue that line to the other side of the circle, that would be the diameter. So the radius goes center to the edge of the circle, or what we say is the circumference of the circle. And a diameter basically cuts straight through the circle. So it goes from the circumference of the circle, and I'm just going to abbreviate that, to the opposite end. But it must pass through the center. That's key. Okay, so this, don't even draw this, because that is not a diameter. That's what we call chord, which we'll study later. The diameter has to go through the center. Okay, so let's do some examples with these. First one is to find the exact and approximate area of a circle with radius 13 inches. The first thing I would do is identify what you're trying to find, which is area, and then write that formula down. So area is pi times the radius squared. In order to find a, pi is just a number, so the only variable I need to fill in is that r. R stands for radius, so our area is actually equal to pi times 13 squared. Which, if I'm leaving an exact means leave pi in the answer. So you don't have to multiply out by 3.14. So that would mean area is pi times 13 squared, which is 169. And that would be your final answer. A better way to probably write that, though, just to be in proper mathematical form, would be to write the 169 first and then the pi. Okay, and don't forget your units. If we're talking area, this is inches squared. Okay, whereas if I wanted the approximate, I would want to actually multiply out that pi, not leave pi in the answer. So it'd be 169 times, if you have a pi key on your calculator, that would be better. If not, you can just type in 3.14 because my computer doesn't have it. And that would be 530.66 for the approximate. It's approximate because you have to round it. It's not exact, like this one is. Okay, now if you have a circle with diameter 56 miles, find the area. So again, I'm going to write down the area formula, and this will become important later, so keep doing it. Okay, this time I have the diameter. So the diameter goes all the way across the circle through the center. The radius is just this portion of the diameter, so it's smaller than the diameter. Specifically, the diameter is 2 radii, so the diameter is double the size of the radius, which means in order to find the radius, I need to cut this in half. So do 56 divided by 2 to find that the radius is 28. And I'll write that over here. So the area is pi times 28 squared, which 28 squared, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that's 28 times 28, which is 784. So our final answer would be 784 pi, and then our units are miles squared. Okay, that's the exact answer. You can go ahead on your own, calculate the approximate area. Okay, next one. The area of a circle is approximately 28 square centimeters. What is the radius? So in this case, it's asking you to find the radius, not the area. But you are given the area in this problem, so you're probably going to need to use what you're given. So the area is 28 square centimeters. Okay. If you remember the formula for the area of a circle, again, it's area equals pi r squared. The more times I write it, the more times I hope you remember it. This time you have the area, so you have your A, but you're trying to find r. So you'll substitute that 28 in for A, and then you'll have to solve to find r, or isolate the r. In order to do that, there are two things that are bothering the r. One of those things is the pi, one of them is the squared. Now, oops, I don't know why it keeps doing that. If you were solving an equation such as like 3x equals 10, in order to get the x lone, or maybe make this 3x squared, in order to get the x lone, you'd have to divide first. Okay, and that's exactly what you're going to do here. Now I know you have a pi, but pi is just a number, so you can still do that. You can still divide by pi, because those will cancel because pi divided by pi is just 1. 28 divided by pi, again, if you have a pi key in your calculator, use that, but I don't. But 28 divided by pi will be about 8.92. So 28 divided by pi is 8.92. On this side, your pi is canceled and you're just left with r squared. Now to get that r alone, a square root undoes a square. So you'll just take the square root of both sides, which is about 2.99. And I'm approximating this because I'm rounding that decimal. Okay, last one's a little bit more challenging because it wants you to find the circumference of a circle, and you're only giving the area. If you remember our circumference formula from above, our formula was C equals 2 pi r. So in order to calculate the circumference, I'm going to need to find what the radius is and plug that in. In order to find the radius, I'm going to need to use what I'm given. So I know the area is 77 square centimeters. That's all I know. So that's all I can use to start. So I know area is pi r squared. And I know that the area is 77. So I plug that in for the A. Now the reason that I need to use this is because I can do what I did in problem 3, solve for r, and then whatever r equals, I can take it and substitute it in here. Now I'm going to leave that for you to try. Oops, what's going on? Crazy. I'm going to leave that for you to try and finish on your own while I come around and take a look.